It's just us talking in a room, essentially, which isn't it's not going to sell tickets saying that, is it? The podcast has 2 different episodes a week. One is an interview with someone famous or interesting, and the other one is Jack and I and our friend in air quotes Stevie, where we talk about various different things. So that we've done episodes where we've designed our dream holiday. We do stuff where the viewers get involved as well, and stuff like that. So literally whatever we think of in the car down to the studio.
Okay. So even though your friend can't make it today, he will be there on the tour.
Probably.
He's always just minutes away from a P45, so it depends whether or not we decide to keep him on.
Yeah, I mean he's in the photos, so that's really the only thing keeping him in at this stage. But there's a reason you've got just Jack and I here today.
Now, YouTube is obviously an amazing platform, as are the other platforms that you sort of broadcast the podcasts on, and I think one of the amazing things about it is that anyone can do it from their home, or if they can get a studio and a microphone and then broadcast whatever it is that they want to talk about. What is it that you think about this, about what you guys are doing? How do you think it's become so popular and had such a following? What's the sort of secret recipe, really?
I just think it's really authentic. Like, on the way, the car journey that we were then speaking about to the studio, we're no different than when we're in that room. Obviously, there's certain things we wouldn't joke about publicly and that, but we just batter our friend for a couple of hours, and people seem to really get behind that. And when I was originally doing my YouTube videos years ago, I was 90% myself and 10% sort of just trying to be a bit of a clown. Whereas now you can't keep up an act for 6 hours a week in a studio. So we are just ourselves. And Robbie's really naturally funny as well. First time I met Robbie, really wanted him to like me. And so to bring him on, and the audience loves Robbie way more than they love me and Stevie. So if anything, it's a sort of PR move rather than a friendship one.
Yeah, and I've got 3 kids, so I'm just happy to get out of the house and go on tour.
Now, what you're going to be doing on this tour is vastly different from sat in a studio with just you plus whoever you've decided to bring into that. You're going to have a huge audience, albeit you have an audience that listen to the podcast or watch the YouTube channel. You don't see them. You're now going to be seeing them. How does it feel about sort of working in that space now?
I mean, I don't know what they're going to be like.
Yeah.
I mean, they could be a room of absolute winners, or, well, I mean, I've never met much of the audience.
I think if they like us, they're going to be a bit weird.
Yeah.
But that could work in our favour, because we want to get them involved.
Yeah, so there'll be a lot of interaction. I mean, you meet people obviously out and about who listen to things and chat to you. Everyone's always really sort of quite polite. And I think you've sort of, they want us to succeed. They want it to be good, sort of thing. So I think you're at an advantage, very different from going into a room and doing stand-up or something like that, I think. So hopefully it'll be all right. But it is going to be different. We did a little test show out just at a 100-seater venue in Norwich, like in March, to find out whether we enjoyed it. And it seemed to go really well. Everyone seemed to have a good time. We enjoyed it.
Yeah,
so we thought we'd do a tour.
We had a confessions box, and we got people to come in and put their confessions into the box that we'd go through in the break and then read in the second half of the show. And we were like, if they're not that juicy, we might have to make some up and just read them. We didn't have to make any up because they were mad.
They're much worse than we can make up.
Yeah.
Now, when you're doing the podcast on the YouTube channel, you invite guests in, people that you know or people that are doing interesting things at the time. Are you going to be having guests along the way, or is it you guys, having a good time and speaking to everyone who's going to be there? What
we learned from doing the sort of test one is the time goes so quickly that I think for these first live shows we're ever doing, I think personally that we're just not going to have time to get anyone else involved other than the audience and us. We've got a lot of
sort of our YouTube friends coming down who have got quite big audience, like followers themselves. So, I mean, I wouldn't want to say for sure that we're going to have guests, but there's potential that we might pull someone out. But I wouldn't want someone to buy a ticket thinking we're going to get a guest, because chances are it's just going to be Stevie.
Now, one of the, I guess, things that you guys do or that you've explored is this kind of idea of urban legends, folkloric tales from the past that might have an element of truth, might not. So I thought I would find some for London and get you guys to tell me whether you think this is true or false.
Okay, wow.
So we're going to kick it off at the Hackney Marshes, East London, where there have been historically sightings of a huge growling beast-like creature. No one can tell us more about exactly what it is, but there have been sightings. It dates back to 1981, and there have been sightings since. And it was some kids who were crossing the marshes, and they saw this sort of like huge animal. It hasn't caused any reported trouble. We haven't had the Met Police having to get involved in this. But it is believed that there is a beast of Hackney Marshes, and this isn't a hipster that hasn't had any coffee, it's an actual beast. Do we think that this beast actually lives in the shadows or not? True or false?
I'm going to say it's false. I think I've played football at Hackney Marshes, and I think it might just be a disgruntled centre-back.
Okay, yeah, that's right. There are no beasts on Hackney Marshes.
We saw right through you, Tanya. Right through you.
Okay, so next one. HP sauce. It's a British brown sauce. It's a staple. Many of us have it on our fry-ups of a weekend or of a weekday, if that's what you have for breakfast. So the HP in HP sauce stands for Houses of Parliament. After it was named after it was rumoured that the sauce was used and being enjoyed at a restaurant in Parliament. The original recipe was made in 1899 by a greengrocer from Nottingham, and the HP came in a little bit later. Is this true or false?
I think it is cool. It is House of Parliament sauce.
Is it?
It's on the bottle. There's a House of Parliament on the bottle, isn't
Yeah,
there?
but are you sure that that's what the HP means?
Yes.
It might be Harry Potter, which they should go and see.
We're not playing Harry Potter.
Okay.
We're not playing Harry Potter. I think this one's true because I've heard something before about House of Parliament and that. I'm going to go true.
I thought people in the Houses of Parliament would be more into sort of mustard.
Is that because we're from Norwich and we just think everything's with mustard?
No, mustard, I think, is something that you only get into when you're a lot older, and there's a lot of older sort of MPs. So I don't know what I'm on about, but yeah, it's probably true.
Yes, you are right. That is true. There you go. A bit of London knowledge for you. Okay, and last but not least, our lovely underground system that most of the time gets us from A to B more or less on time. There have been a few births on the underground, and the first baby to ever be born on the underground was actually called Tube. It dates back to 1924. A lovely little girl was born on the Bakerloo line, and it's rumoured that her name was Thelma Ursula Beatrice Eleanor, so the initials are Tube. Is this true or false?
Oh,
that's superb. That's true.
Really, it's really good. If it's not true, it's very well made up. I think it seems too good to be true. I'm going to say it's false.
I think it's false. I think you've made it up.
But well done to make it up.
Yeah,
It's a good one.
it'd be brilliant. Yeah, it could. Yeah.
Okay, well done. 3 out of 3. That is also false. She was born on the Bakerloo line, but her name was actually Mary Cordery.
And your urban legends were far better than Stevie's.
Unreasonable expectations. Don't come to the podcast expecting that kind of quality.
Yeah.
Because you're not getting it.
And also, if you're free every single Thursday from here until the end of time, you can come and take Stevie's job.
Yeah.
Okay, deal. Done.